one of our favorite conspiracy theorists. He believes in all sorts of wackadoo things. So let's take a look.
This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show. I'm doing this video as another video where I know I'm going to be able to simplify this enough for you to share it with your friends and your family to at least raise their eyebrows, to make them think and question some things that are going on. I'm going to show them through the constant mainstream narratives, the same repetition that's being used to push all of these major New World Order agendas. So listen to this video, share this video. I promise you it'll be informative. Now, repetition, I've said a million times, is the key to mind control. For those of you who don't understand what that means, think about when you hear a song in the car, right? And then the song's stuck in your head for days and days. You don't even like the song and you find yourself singing it in the shower. That's because you're hearing the song over and over and over.
Call Me Maybe. Call Me Maybe is that song.
A lot of people actually don't like a song when they first hear.
Call for a Rainbow. He actually has to make a new Call for a Rainbow channel soon because this channel got a strike and he's mad about it. So he's going to be making another Call for a Rainbow channel so he can jump to that one. For those who don't know, this guy gets banned and demonetized all the time for spreading ridiculous conspiracy theories and anti-medical information and stuff. So what he'll do as a strategy is he will ban evade by creating a channel called A Call for a Rainbow, and then he'll do a pretty offensive and not funny, let's just say he'll put on what is considered a stereotypical gay affect and make parody videos of what he thinks other YouTubers are doing. And it's very cringe. I'm actually kind of excited for more Call for a Rainbow content because it's hilarious. Not in the ways he wants, but nonetheless, it does make me laugh. And then after getting monetized on Call for a Rainbow, he will then change the name to A Call for an Uprising and go back to his normal conspiratorial bullshit.
Hear it. It's the repetition that makes them like the song because they're actually under a form of mind control. That's why you might catch a guy who's a metalhead singing a Backstreet Boys song in the shower or humming it to him.
Or it's because Backstreet Boys is lit, okay? I don't care if you're into metal. You can also listen to, like, oh god, what's the one Backstreet Boys song that I like so much? Everybody, yeah, I'm very flat. Yeah, rock your body. You get it. Backstreet's back, alright. Where's my record contract? But seriously, if you don't like Backstreet Boys at least a little, I don't trust you. Daddy Sume says Backstreet's back, alright, yeah.
Himself, and he'll say, why is this crap in my head? Well, it's because you probably heard it 50 times in the radio. You heard it in the background while you're grocery shopping, while you're at the dentist's office.
What? Wait, what other songs are Backstreet Boys songs? Backstreet Boys. I Want It That Way is great. Everybody's great. Larger Than Life is pretty good. I don't know if I know any others off the top of my head. I was never a huge fan, but the big songs I like.
Right? That's how mind control works. And it all
Unconditional Prong 1 says, I got a boyfriend. Congratulations.
starts with your brain, obviously, right? Think of your brain as a computer pad. Or just think of it as an empty...
Have I heard Postmodern Jukebox, I Want It That Way? Probably. I listen to Postmodern Jukebox pretty regularly. I don't remember if I've heard that particular song, though.
Computer, I should say, not a pad.
I have, actually, now that I think about it. I think it's on my playlist for that stuff. Yeah, they're good.
A computer, right? It comes to your house, you open it up, and there's nothing on that computer yet. But you start putting information on the computer, you start downloading your music, you start putting whatever things you put on there, pictures of yourself. And
I mean, there is stuff on computers when you buy a computer. Presumably, if it's a pre-built, it has an OS and it has, like, built-in programs and all that kind of thing. But I understand your metaphor. It's just kind of a clumsy one.
Your family and other things that you might watch.
This guy made a reply explaining monetization. What is this? Oh, it's that argument you were having with this guy who's like a chud.
Making profit. YouTubers can monetize things. They put out videos, but that doesn't mean it'll turn a profit. this is a corporation like Disney. Disney is bleeding money because they are not making good projects. They've lost faith from their customer base.
What? Before COVID, Disney was making like all-time high profits. What are you talking about?
And they're
not making money right now, specifically because their parks have been for the last year, and their parks are like, people don't know this necessarily, but the majority of Disney's revenue comes from not just movies, but their theme parks. Their theme parks are actually huge revenue centers for Disney. And they've been either closed or at limited capacity for like a year. It's screwing them over pretty badly. Disney Plus and its expansion over the last year has helped pick up some of that slack, but
losing money. So they can monetize a ton of projects all day. That doesn't mean it turns profit.
Is his argument just that YouTube doesn't make enough money? Okay. I don't really care. As long as they keep paying me, and as long as Google keeps it afloat.
Or do or whatever.
Let me put it this way. I don't think YouTube and Google necessarily make profit, or at least not a large profit, from ads and YouTube premium subscriptions alone. However, I think when you factor in all the data that they're able to get from people based on their video watching habits, probably makes money, or at least is a valuable tool for their other endeavors and their ad services and stuff.
Have on their work documents, etc., etc. The human brain, when you're born, is just like an empty computer showing up at your house. And this is the reason that they want to get us all into schools at a young age, while the brain is still developing, because you need to teach children things so they're not idiots. Probably one of the two. Young children are absorbing this information. Whatever information is given to them, they absorb, right? And that's why it is so important to get these children to the elite, at least to the Illuminati, the New World Order, to get children into the school system fast so that they can program their brains. What happens from there is they begin programming their brains with a history of lies. All the things that they tell us are not true. We live in a world of lies. That is what's life inside of the Matrix is like. From history to the stuff that we're told that's important in, English class, to science class.
This goddamn Oxford comma bullshit. When am I gonna use this?
Dissecting frogs and chemistry, all stuff that's worthless to you in the future.
It won't be worthless to you in the future if you decide you want to go into certain fields. Dissecting a frog in your anatomy class or your science class. I did that in my anatomy class. I think we did frog and we did fetal pig, if I remember correctly. Do I use that information often? No, but it's interesting and it's valuable for kids to understand. But also, someone in that class could learn that it's something that they're interested in. Maybe they end up wanting to go into surgery or internal medicine or something like that. And then they have a knowledge base that they can take with them as they go into higher education to train for these jobs, right? Not only that, but just information for information's sake can be great. You know what I mean? I don't understand being against, like, how can you spin anatomy class where you literally just learn the organs of the body for mammals or whatever you happen to be studying and say that's a bad thing or politically skewed in some way? It's literally just, this is what posterior and anterior means. At least in my anatomy class, they explained all the sort of medical jargon as to how you describe different parts of the body. And like, here's where this organ is, and this is what this organ does, and here's the skeletal system, and here's how the nervous system functions. Like, it's information that's good to know as a human being.
But they want to indoctrinate you with this stuff. And as I get into the agenda, such as the feminist movement, this is one of the reasons why the feminist movement is so important. Because by
I say posterior weird.
Brainwashing women and
Pyromancer says, I wish we could go program brains. I'd like to download skills in piano. Yeah, like the Matrix.
Trying to empower them. What it does is it gets the woman to try to compete with the man.
The mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. It is.
Thus telling a woman that being a mother is not an important job, that being a mother means nothing.
No one is telling women that being a mother means nothing. The messaging in our society is very, very pro-mother. It's fine. The only difference is people are also taught if you don't want to be a parent, that's also okay, which is reasonable. Not everyone has to go and have kids if they don't want to. And they shouldn't if they don't want to, because then those kids are going to have shitty parents who are disinterested from actually being parents. Pyromancer with 20 bits says, nope, already read that one. Sorry.
That a woman should go earn, a man should go earn, because this is how they get their hands on the children. This is how they brainwash the children, and this is why we live in a world of walking, talking zombies. This is why when you go to school, and I'm sure everybody listening to this at one point in your life, you said to yourself, what is the point of this, right? Didn't we learn this already? These sound like familiar quotes. For those of you who are still, in school listening, right? You're like, didn't we learn this in 7th grade, and 8th grade, 9th grade? Oh, well, this year, instead of learning geometry, you're going to learn algebra or whatever, right? Trig. Oh, okay, so it's a little bit different, but it's the same stuff.
Does a call for an uprising not understand that using algebra is not the same thing as using calculus or trig or geometry? These are all different math fields that are used for different purposes. Just because they all use numbers doesn't mean it's all the same thing. Good God.
Right? Same with English class. Oh, we're going to read this book instead of that book, but then we're going to talk about this guy and, the same thing. Shakespeare, the same, Freemason elites that they love to shove down everyone's throat.
Ooh, I get to add a new thing to the list. Hold on. Hold on. I'll do this. Don't worry. I got this. How do you spell Shakespeare? I know it's not how I'm gonna try and spell it. Shakespeare is now satanic or something. Also, he says, English class, it's always the same. You read one book and then you read a different book. Does a call for an uprising know that it would probably help if he literally ever looked inside of a book? But like this book, which is a book, it's got a spine, it's got writing on it. This book has entirely different words in it and different concepts than this book or any other book that I have. Books are different on the inside if you actually open one up and read it. I don't know if he knows that. It's almost like you learn different things from different books. Weird.
Right? And then inside of this system, the people who are rewarded are the ones who buy into the repetition, the ones who are doing their best and getting their best grades because they've been programmed enough to get the best grades because they're buying into the system. And then they're rewarded with better schooling, better jobs. And really what happens is when a lot of these kids, who have high GPAs, who buy into this.
Oh no, this just feels like a rant against successful people in education because Call for an Uprising probably didn't do very well in school. He's mad about it and has to come up with, well, they're just all Illuminati shills anyway. I didn't learn math because I'm not a sheeple. Pyromancer says all books are tools of Satan. And then Dread Pirate Mick, thank you for subscribing with Prime for 4 months.
Who, I want to work so hard and get high grades and think that that's what life's all about, learning the most lies they possibly can to get the highest GPA. And then they go off to these universities, and a lot of times they'll be recruited at these universities, Ivy League schools, like I've said a million times. Not just bloodline members are part of these secret societies. They recruit people who have high, they believe have high IQs, high GPAs.
So the evil cabal is a meritocracy? Okay, that's better than I thought.
And are people who are going to follow along because they've already processed that these people are followers, not leaders, because they haven't questioned the system that they've been put in.
You just said they have higher IQs. People with higher IQs tend to be more skeptical and less easily led than people with lower IQs. And again, IQ's bullshit. I'm not making statements like, oh, this is a hard rule or anything. But in my experience, people with higher level, I'll say higher levels of education. Let's put it that way. Not IQ, because IQ is stupid. People with higher levels of education and practical skill level tend to have better critical thinking skills. They just do.
They've embraced it, and they've gone further above to continue to brainwash themselves into embracing it, getting their bachelor's to master's to et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now, we're all victims of this. I graduated college. I went through this stuff.
Oh, God. What did a call for an uprising have a major in? Jesus Christ. Does he have just like an associate's degree or what? Pyromancer says, press X to doubt.
Because I was told I had to do it, but it didn't mean I didn't question it the whole time and say it's a bunch of crap. Didn't mean that I didn't try to scam my way around some of the stuff going on in college and the school system, because I knew it was just a total waste of my time and my energy. And eventually, obviously, it led to my awakening, but I knew something was wrong. Right? We've all gone through this, so don't feel like if you're going through it that there's something wrong with you or you're stupid, because this is the system they've set up so that you can go achieve the paper money that they print at the top of the pyramid. Okay? So the repetition is the key. Now, for those of you who go, well, I don't really know if I buy into this repetition, and you don't believe in how, all the stuff in schools are lies and all that stuff, let's talk about the main agendas that the mainstream media pushes today.
Oh, please,
let's start with feminism, right?
Oh, no, not feminism. I hate when women have equal rights.
What they have to do is, in all of these music videos and all of these shows, is empower women, make women victims, right? The Me Too movement. This is all seed planting for women to strive to become executives and all this stuff, to make them feel as if being a mother is not a job. Right?
What are you talking about? Again, it's fine. No one is telling, at least not in any substantial cultural narrative sense, that women shouldn't be mothers. That's complete falsehood. The only thing that could even be construed as close to that is the fact that we now live in a society. We live in a society. The fact that we live in a society. Again, I gotta get a stream deck, so whenever that comes up, I can just play the clip from the Justice League trailer where he says we live in a society. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, people who misconstrue the idea that it's socially acceptable to not have children or whatever, or for women to have jobs, and construing that to mean that women are being told not to be mothers, which isn't the case. It's about choice.
Right? Oh, the nanny can watch the kid, or, we'll put the kid in a daycare center so the kid could possibly be trafficked or something like that, or we'll put the kid here, we'll put the kid there. Now, this isn't saying that...
Oh my God. This is an interesting thing that ties into the satanic panic from the 80s, too. This was another time where there was sort of, in the 70s and 80s, progress happening in feminism and women's rights. Women were starting to get into the workplace more often, in jobs that were typically held by men in the past. And there was this scare tactic almost from reactionaries that were like doing the satanic panic stuff, and one of the things they would say is like, oh, watch out about putting your kid in a daycare, they're gonna do satanic rituals to your children or traffic your children or whatever. And it was really basically a reaction to women using daycares instead of being stay-at-home moms because they wanted to have careers of their own. So it was just a way of trying to scare parents away from putting them in daycare centers. Really messed up. Krizia says, rich people used to exclusively have their kids raised by nannies. It's been the norm for thousands of years. Yeah.
Women shouldn't work and have jobs. Of course not. I'm talking about the feminist movement. If you're married and, you guys, as a couple, you need more income to take care of your family, obviously, okay, that's fine. But feminism and a woman working and doing certain things is not one and the same. Okay? It is their goal to push the feminist movement to get children raised by the system, right?
What?
Because what is...
Have you ever heard the phrase, it takes a village to raise a child? Society as a whole and other people taking on certain responsibilities to help raise children, whether it's just for social good or whether it's for money, whether we're talking about, like, in the past, wet maids or nannies or whatever. I'm trying to remember what the word is. Whatever. People taking care of kids, or today your modern day daycare where it's a bunch of kids being taken care of by professionals, hopefully. That's fine. That's reasonable. nowhere, let me put it this way. It's relatively uncommon in human history for children to solely be raised by their parents with no input from other people. You do not raise a child in isolation. That's not how it works. You're still their parents, and therefore, in many ways, you're like the rudder that's steering what they learn and how they view the world. But you're not the only person who gets to have input, because other people are around your kids, and kids are little sponges, and they're going to learn things all the time, and you're not there all the time, because that's how the world works.
It's missing from the system. God is missing from the system. Values are missing from the system.
In your opinion, I don't agree. Von Tux with 100 bits says, I'd pay good money to see Call for an Uprising react to Radio by Ramenstein. I bet he'd have a conspiracy-gasm.
Emily. Okay? Now, the feminist movement, for those of you who don't believe it's something that they're trying to brainwash everyone with.
Oh no! Ocean's 8! That's got mostly women in it! The horror.
Let's just take a look at some of the stuff that's going on casually in the media and look at the repetition being done.
Does he think Oceans 11, 12, and 13 are pro-male propaganda then, since those all had teams of, like, mostly or all men, depending on the movie?
From Ocean's 8, right? They've taken the Ocean's 11 movies, now turned Ocean's 8 with an all-female cast, empowering females. To Ghostbusters with an all-female cast.
Wait, is the original Ghostbusters a male propaganda film because all the Ghostbusters are men? Because I don't think that. So why would you think the opposite when it's just women? Pyromancer says, Call is being pretty repetitive. Clearly, this is a psyop. Everything is a psyop, okay? So nothing is.
To the bringing back of television shows like Roseanne and Murphy Brown, which...
Roseanne doesn't even have Roseanne on it anymore because she's a big piece of shit and got canceled.
Are about empowered women. Now, Murphy Brown more so than Roseanne.
I'm surprised he didn't bring up the gender non-conforming kid from Roseanne, or the Connors, or whatever the show's called now.
But there's a reason that they're bringing these
Murphy Brown
shows back. To movies like Mom's Night Out and Rough Night and Bad Mom's Christmas. These are movies
he mentioned Bad Mom's Christmas, but not Bad Moms? Okay.
About women acting as men, right? Women deciding that, oh, they're going to get drunk and they're going to go out and party and they're going to go out and hook up. And I'm not saying condoning that being right for men either, right? They've poisoned men into living that lifestyle. Now they want to poison women into doing it.
Does he think that before these movies, women didn't go out and have fun with their friends and have drinks and get laid? Oh, Call, you sweet summer child. Bad Mom's Christmas sounds like porn. A little bit. Patia, thank you for following.
But this is a way to empower women into, hey, it's Friday night. Instead of having a family night, let's go out. Let's get crazy, right? Movie after movie after movie with an all-female cast compared to an all-male cast, right? Which is exactly what they want. And the feminist movement with the Me Too movement making...
Right, but like and again, I didn't even really like Ghostbusters 2016. I thought it was just like not funny, and I thought it was a little cringe. But the concept itself of them all being women doesn't really matter. It's fine. The first movie had all men. I don't see the issue. The execution, what was wrong with that movie, not the concept.
Women look like victims. This is getting more and more women to not only despise men, but to want to achieve more inside of the system. And that's what they want. They want you to almost climb the stairs like the Masonic staircase inside of the system. So that, oh, here, you can make more money. Here, we'll dangle some carrots over here.
Capitalism. You're mad at capitalism, not Freemasonry.
Meanwhile, give us your kid if you have it. And if you don't have a kid, you don't want to have a kid, right? That's another way for them to depopulate. Okay? But if you do have a kid, listen, mom's going to be an executive, dad's going to be an executive, and the child, well, he's ours. And we're going to raise him with fake history of the wars of the world and who were behind it. We're not going to...
Oh, yikes. If we were playing bingo, that would be thinly veiled anti-Semitism for sure.
Educate them on the Rockefellers. We're not going to educate them on how to farm.
That's a fair point. I should probably put staircase on here, huh? I'm going to specifically put Freemason staircase. Pyromancer with 20 bits says, I think he might be onto something. Birds of Prey was terrible because it was all female. Oh, wait, it was just a bad movie regardless. Oh, I kind of like Birds of Prey. It was certainly an improvement over a lot of other DC movies, but fair enough. Does he not believe the Holocaust happened? If I had to guess, he's probably a denier. But what I was more talking about was the fact that he said, like, all these wars and who's behind them. That's a big JQ talking point, is that every war is caused by, you know, such and such anti-Semitic comment. Call Meme Mommy says, hello, Hannah. I just treated myself with 1,000 biddies, and they're probably all going to you. I just tuned in. How's the stream? And I agree. F. Roseanne. Stream's going good. Thank you.
How to take care of themselves, how to take care of their bodies. No. We're going to raise them and educate them on nonsense and bullcrap and lies. And then, after enough years of conditioning, they're going to defend this same system because this system is all they know. So when people like A Call for an Uprising or others go after them or ask them to question what's going on, or they hear us speak, they get defensive and defend the system because that's all they know is the indoctrination of lies. That's it. It's almost like telling them the world they live in doesn't exist. They don't want to hear it. They protect the system. They're protective of it. So you see the feminist movement all over the place. Another one that I constantly talk about is the LGBT, from the homosexual agenda to the trans agenda. Now, this is...
Guys, did you remember at the last meeting of the LGBT where we laid out our agenda? That was fun. Thanks to whoever brought the cupcakes. They were delicious. I'd love to get the recipe. Please let me know. Unconditional Prong says, the Sia movie music is so woke because it has the femoids and the non-whites. The movie actually sucks for other reasons. Okay.
This is no way, shape, or form hate speech. I'd like to make that clear and put a disclaimer.
That's not how this works. You don't get to just say, by the way, this isn't hate speech, and then say a bunch of hate speech. That's not how that works.
There, because every time I expose these things, I get strikes because they don't want this exposed, because they don't want you to believe that mind control is real.
Or it's because you're denigrating an entire group of people based on their identity.
But they've strategically placed gay characters in television shows now for 60, 70 years, right?
Or, think about this. Gay people exist in the real world, okay? So, when you make a TV show, sometimes you put in gay people because gay people exist.
Right. Whether you knew the character...
Pyromancer says, I declare bankruptcy! Bitter old ass broad says, I need the minutes from that meeting. And then Call Me Mommy says, because as we know, there are no crappy action movies that only star men. Yeah, also he said 60 to 70 years. 70 years ago would have been the 1950s. How many gay characters were on TV in the 50s? And I don't mean characters that you can look at today and go, that's gay coded. I mean explicitly gay characters. Let's see, who was the first, like the earliest I can think of in terms of, not even necessarily really gay, but like homosexuality was a topic, was Three's Company, because the guy pretends to be gay so he can live in the apartment with those women. Hold on. First gay character on TV. 1977, the TV show Soap becomes the first U.S. sitcom to feature an openly gay character, Jody Dallas, played by Bill Kristol. Subsequently, Kristol became the first actor to play an openly gay character on a primetime U.S. TV show on the Nancy Walker Show. So that was 77. That's not 50. Or that's not 70 years ago. That's closer to 50-ish. And even then, it didn't become a regular thing until very recently. Relatively speaking. The 90s was when it first started showing up, and even then it was often on niche shows like, I shouldn't say niche, but like shows where that was the premise. It wasn't just usually, oh, there happens to be a gay character, although that did happen occasionally in the 90s. But it would be on shows like Will and Grace, where like a lot of the premise and plots have to do with the characters not being straight.
There was gay or not. Now,
Or like Ellen, which wasn't even about that, but then Ellen DeGeneres actually came out and they wrote it into the show.
obviously, since Ellen,
I like that he brings up Ellen too, because it's like the gay person he knows from TV, because he's not really up with pop culture. Does he even know that people hate Ellen now? Do you think he knows?
who gets shoved down our throat, they make sure that Ellen has her own show, that Ellen's always in the spotlight, right, for a reason. Because they want you to accept, because the mindset of Satanism and the occult is do without will. Okay? They want you to do everything they can to defile the Bible, to defile God's word, and to get everybody to have the same mindset of do without will. Because that is the satanic mindset, and it comes in the name of love. It comes in the name of tolerance and acceptance.
There's nothing more evil than love, tolerance, and acceptance. I know this because reasons.
And that's why there's shows with Ellen.
Have I met Matt Dillahunty in real life? Yeah. I've met Matt multiple times. We've been... one time we spoke at the same convention, which was fun. We ended up having like lunch and hanging out in his hotel room for a while. Me and Jake and some other people who were speakers. Yeah, I've met Matt.
Ellen, right? Modern.
We can defile the Bible this weekend, says Baha. I do have Bibles with holes in them. So we could like stick things through the hole and then stick those things elsewhere. That'd be pretty defiling. Oh, God. Even for me, that was a little far.
Family, gay character. Will and Grace, gay character. Reality shows like Queer Eye for the Straight Guy. Any of those reality shows, whether it's Project Runway or one of those shows where a woman's buying a wedding dress or America's Next Top Model, right? Gay character, gay character, gay character. Or you can go down the list to the real world.
Does he want a... is that character from America's Next Top Model? I feel like asking for like a fashion design show or a modeling show with no gay characters is pretty unrealistic. Let me put it that way.
The television show The Real will always have to
Daddy Sume says, Hannah, you have just fulfilled my fantasy. I love you. Oh, God.
have a gay character on cast. This is just to bring acceptance through repetition. So that 50 years ago, this stuff would not be normal. People wouldn't be accepting of this. And this isn't bashing anybody who is gay. Okay?
It is. It is, for sure.
Okay? This isn't wishing hate or harm on them. And I mean that seriously. I don't wish hate or harm on them.
Daddy Sume says, usually it's more like, oh, God, but that works too. Oh, God. Look, Call, it is. If you're saying, it's fine for gay people to exist, I just want the public square to pretend they don't and never show them in media, ever, then you do wish harm on gay people. You want LGBT people to be marginalized and act like they don't exist, at best. That is harmful.
But you see a huge rise in the last 20 years and how many people, it's almost like every other person you see or meet is gay. And that's because of the mind control. It's not because all of a sudden people are brave to come out of the closet. It's because...
It is. It's because it's become more socially acceptable, so more people are okay with coming out.
Of the
typical average estimates I see based on polling are between like 3 to 10% of the population is LGBT in some way. The estimates vary wildly, but I would imagine it's probably around 5% or something like that. Pyromancer says, wish I was gay so I could have less in common with Call.
repetition and the indoctrinating with these characters, they make these characters funny, they sexualize these characters. This is all part of repetition and mind control, and they do it in cartoons as well. We saw Beauty and the Beast, right? They rolled out the gay character in the new Beauty and the Beast movie, Guston or somebody or his friend, right? To movies like Stork.
Oh, God.
Sausage Party.
Bear in mind that the gay baiting in Beauty and the Beast amounted to one scene in the movie where LeFou dances with a guy, and that's it. That's the whole thing. They don't even kiss.
You know, the list goes on and on as they start implanting these characters in cartoons so that children automatically think that this is normal behavior and it's normal. Right, when in fact it is a form of mind control. And then you can look at the trans agenda, which is never, this is picked up beyond words right now, right? It's like, I mean, 10 years ago, this would have been insane.
My agenda is to live my life without getting harassed. That'd be great.
And now it's like, if you speak again, you know, they want to suddenly, if they can't pee in the bathroom they want to pee in, you're a hateful person.
Yes.
And all this stuff, and everybody's on board. But look at all the seeds that have been done with the trans agenda from almost every person in Hollywood cross-dressing, whether it's on Saturday Night Live and it's
the idea that he thinks the old joke of, haha, isn't it funny to see a man dressed like a woman is somehow pro-trans and not the opposite of that is very funny, that he doesn't even understand that, like, a lot of trans people don't like jokes like this, specifically because it gives people the idea that, haha, isn't it funny when someone who doesn't necessarily look feminine is wearing women's clothes? Like, that's not a pro-trans thing. Jesus.
The Rock or Derek Jeter, to movies like White Chicks, to TV shows like Vanderpump Rules, which every season constantly pushes, you know, the Pride Parade. The guys are always cross-dressing, right?
Okay.
Because these guys are being paid to push a narrative, to push an agenda. They're all on board. They know what the goal, you know, this is what they do at Bohemian Grove. For people who wonder, what is Bohemian Grove? What do they do at these freak meetings? Yeah. Do they perform all these sexual deviant acts? Yeah. Do they probably perform ritual killing?
What do you think the minimum is for a call for an uprising to deem a sexual act, like, depraved? Like, is he strictly face-to-face missionary, PIV, and no touching the clitoris? Like, is that, like, his line, and anything different than that is, like, that's deviant. All these deviant acts.
Killings, yeah. But the goal of it isn't to just go up there and kill and perform, because they do this stuff on a routine basis, according to the Satanic calendar, and all these other dates, and moons, and full moons, and blood moons, and all that stuff. But they
gotta do it through the sheet. That's good. Pyromancer, making eye contact with your partner is pretty deviant.
go up there and they socialize. They have meetings about what the agendas are going to be. And it gets pushed down. The people, if you saw the people who went to Bohemian Grove or Bilderberg, you would be like, I don't know who any of these people are. Where's Obama? Where's Trump? Where are the big names? They don't need to be there because it's the editors. It's the producers of these shows. Or the, you know, the guys who are...
I think Justin Timberlake could pull this off. Surprisingly. He looks pretty good.
are at the top, the COOs of networks like Bravo, etc. They get the orders. Okay, this is what you got to push this in each show, right? Push the LGBT, and they find a way to fit it in. They give the orders down to the producer. They tell them, okay, we're going to do an episode that focuses on pride. We're going to do an episode where the guys cross-dress, and that's why all these shows have the same thing going on, because they're giving you the repetition, because they know that the acceptance starts to come through the repetition. You know, you got movies like Tu Wong Fu. I remember in the 80s movies.
Good movie.
Like Just One of the Boys, Ladybugs, subliminally doing it, right? Boy dressing as girl, girl dressing as boy. It's all there. And you see it now, too.
Not really. Again, most of those movies aren't about, well, Tu Wong Fu, depending on how you look at it. I think they're just called, like, drag queens in the movie. It's been a while since I've seen it, but, like, our modern nomenclature around the difference between, like, drag queens and transgender individuals and stuff is different than it was back in the day. But like a lot of, like, Just One of the Boys is not about a trans character, to my knowledge. I feel like there's some other underlying reason that they end up cross-dressing, and I don't remember. And that's what makes it cross-dressing, because they're dressing the opposite of their gender identity. Whereas someone who's trans, like myself, like, if I wear a typically feminine outfit, it's not really, I mean, people will insultingly call it cross-dressing, but that's not really what that definition means, because I'm dressing with my identified gender.
With movies that are about civil war, because that's another agenda they push, right? They push blacks versus whites, liberals versus conservatives, right? Civil war. They have, you know, Captain America, Civil War. These Avenger movies are constantly talking about this inner civil war. The Purge movies, right? Purge movies are a perfect example of what they want. This stuff is all planted there. All of the shows. You'll be hard-pressed to find one that doesn't have these agendas in it, or these characters pushing this in it. Whether the character, you know, the character doesn't have to be on the show going, everybody should be gay and this and that. No, It's having the character there, the acceptance of it, the normalizing of it through repetition. And that's why it's there. So share this video. It's as simple as it gets. It's as easy as it is to figure out. From all the stuff that people talk about, and I get the importance of talking about everything. I try to talk about every topic that I possibly can. Okay, there's people who talk about so many different things. But it all starts with the human mind. Everything starts with your mind. Everything. Okay? Before the poisoning and the food, the fluoride and all that stuff, it starts with your brain. Because once you unlock that, once you realize that your brain has been programmed to see stuff that doesn't exist, and then you realize the stuff that, I talk about, the colors, the symbols, all that stuff right in front of our faces, them showing it to you almost like they're a gang, does exist, but your brain's been trained not to see it, to shut it off, to be in an alpha state, a sleep state. So once you unlock your mind, once you turn that key, and you start realizing this stuff, and you put your pride aside, because if you're someone listening and you're not awake yet, put your pride aside. Nobody cares if you have a master's and all that stuff. Oh, you're going to look back and go, well, I wasted 30 years of my life. Well,
no, a lot of people care if you, well, I guess it depends in the field. People care if you have a master's or whatever. Pyromancer56 says, the irony.
Join the club. We all wasted many years of our lives, right? In the school system, believing in nonsense, striving for things that we couldn't achieve because it's all a controlled system, and then realizing that these things are worthless anyway. We've all been there. So put your pride aside, okay? And just realize that it's a waste. I'm not saying...
How about you put your pride aside and recognize that you're not secretly in on some global conspiracy? You're just a conspiracy theorist spouting nonsense on the internet to other mentally unstable people. That'd be great.
Oh, someone who's a doctor, they don't serve a purpose, or someone who does this doesn't serve a purpose. Of course they do. People have trades who are good at certain things, and there's people who, go to school for, communications, for,
You literally do communications for a living, Call. It's your job. It's communicating ideas. Other people go to school for it, and guess what? They're actually way better at it than you, so that's weird, huh?
Getting their masters in that, and it's like, okay, well, there's not really what's coming out of that. I don't know, or your marketing and stuff like that. But if you just set your pride aside and realize that we've all been duped, and then it all starts with the most basic form, which is repetition, which is why they get us at a young age in the schools. Like I said earlier, they beat it into our head, beat it into our head, beat it into our head, just like a song on the radio, right? Repeat, repeat, repeat. And then you get to a certain age where your brain is already fully developed, and that's why they stop schooling at that certain age, because your brain's developed. It's processed all the bull crap. It's taking it all in. And they know from this point on, it's going to be hard to deprogram you. But you can deprogram yourself. You can. You have to put your pride aside, your ego aside, and understand that this stuff is real. And especially it goes for people listening who might be gay or might be trans, or women out there listening. I'm not against any women, not even close. But you have to realize that they're playing off of your emotion as a woman with the feminist movement. They're playing off your emotion as a gay person, and they're trying to...
Oh, that's good. That's a good way to get women on your side. Just trust me. You're so emotional that you're falling for feminism. Yikes.
To make you push it onto other people.
It's not as good of an argument as you seem to think it is.
And empower people, when in fact you've been deceived. You're the one who's been deceived through this mind control. So remember that. I hope this was informative for you. I wish I could have used video clips, but I can't. It takes forever to get them even in the video to upload. They block it over and over. So I figured I would just try to speak as clearly as I can to get the message and the point across. I hope you found this informative. I thank you all for listening to today's show. Share this video with people, and hopefully it'll help wake them up too. God bless all of you and your families.
Call for an uprising needs some help. But I'm not going to be the one to give it to him. So, what are you going to do?